Cubs drop the opener to the Rangers. They also lose Justin Steele in the process. We're going to talk about that heartbreaker last night in Arlington, Texas, and what it means to the Cubs as we move forward during this season and particularly right now with Jamison Tyone also on the IL. Guys, get in the comment section. Tell me what you guys thought about the game. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the bell so you know when we're live, and let's get this thing going. On the road, but still talking Cubs baseball after opening day. Hey, everybody, it's Mick Gillispie. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball channel. I'm at Broadcaster Mick on the socials, and opening day is in the books, and it didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to. Cubs lost to the Rangers 4-3. So let me give you some of my thoughts on the game. First off, I thought that the Cubs played a great game up until the bottom of the ninth. It was a playoff type vibe. The Rangers hung their World Series championship flag. There was just so much pomp and circumstance there. It had that vibe to it, and it was a battle. You know, Nathan Eovaldi against Justin Steele. We got that pitching matchup until Steele got hurt, but it felt like, hey, this is a big-time game between, two teams that are going at it. Christopher Morel didn't play third base. It was Nick Madrigal, which kind of fell in line with what we saw last year. And then we saw him leave and Miles Mastrobuoni come in and play third. Cubs got some timely hits. Christopher Morel delivered, had the triple in the game and, a couple knocks. Cody Bellinger and Seiya Suzuki teamed up for a couple of extra base hits and a run. Cubs scored some smart base running in the ninth inning to take the lead, and then Adbert Alzolay came in and couldn't hold on to it. We'll get into that here in a second, but it was a tough loss. Craig Counsell's like, hey, man, this is just the way that the game is. But it was his first game as Cubs manager, saw how he used the bullpen, and we're going to talk about that as well as we move forward. But let's get with this right off the bat here, and that's Justin Steele's hamstring. 15-day IL most likely. He made one of the great plays that you'll see a pitcher make on a bunt, right? Rolling up the first base line, he runs over, bare hands it, throws to first, and then all of a sudden he's holding his leg. And kind of talked about this after he was injured in his final spring training start, and we talked about it on here. Might have been a good idea just to push him back a couple of days, but he's such a bulldog. He wanted that opportunity, and you can't blame him. I mean, when you start on opening day, it's a big deal. And it's something that goes down, under your resume and tells the rest of your team that you're tough. And I don't know that that's why this particular injury happened. But a lot of times when you are a pitcher and you get, hit by a batted ball or, something happens, maybe you step off and twist your ankle. And then the next time you go out, it might not necessarily be that gets hurt, but something else does because, you're favoring, whatever it was. So I don't know. I mean, obviously just being around the game for a long time, it could just be dumb luck. But we talked about that after he was injured and the possibility of moving this back. Didn't seem like the knee was a concern at all, but now a hamstring is. And this has been something that I don't know why has been an issue for this group, right? So you're talking about Ian Happ, who played in the game but missed most of spring training with a hamstring. Nick Madrigal, who played in the game and missed most of spring training with a hamstring. And now you got Justin Steele with a hamstring injury. How does that affect the Cubs rotation? Well, first off, it sucks. I mean, think about it, for lack of a better term. He's the best pitcher on your team, 16-5 last year and a 3.08 ERA. He was pitching so well last night. He's an integral part of your success and your winning. And now you got him and Jamison Tyone out. So Tyone's return is going to be key now, as this Cubs rotations without two of the five guys that you figured they'd have in a rotation that people didn't feel like was top 10 before that. So looking at the options to replace Steele while he recovers from the hamstring, here they are. Ben Brown, who I would bring up if it was my call. I think he's got the best stuff of these guys. It's a little bit more of a risk because he hasn't pitched in the big leagues yet, but we saw him in his last spring training start, and he just looked ready to go. He's a hard thrower, and he's going to strike out a lot of guys, and I just think he's got better stuff than the two other options. Hayden Wesneski, I've never been a huge Wesneski fan as far as his stuff. I think he's got good movement on his slider, but it just always seems like he gets hit around, and that happened again this spring. But, he was in the mix up until the end. He was one of the last guys sent down. And then Drew Smiley, who we saw last year. He's got the most experience of this group. He's in the bullpen. He obviously pitched last night and gave up the run that lost the game. He was so good at the beginning last year, then went to the bullpen after struggling as a starter and being kind of replaced and did decent, So he gives you the, kind of the veteran option. So these will be the three guys that they'll pick from. And, that'll be a decision that'll be made soon. I don't think you have to necessarily make it today, but they probably will. Now, the other thing that we can talk about is this. Cubs had the lead going into the bottom of the ninth inning. Adbert Alzolay comes in and blows the save. He had that stretch last year where he didn't do this at all. Gave up a pinch hit, home run, place went nuts. You knew at that point it was going to be tough. And, you could go to extra innings with this rule. You start with a guy at second base on the road. It's tough to win. On the road in extra innings in baseball anyway, just because the other team knows how many runs they need. Not impossible, but just difficult. But he gave up the home run. What does that mean for him as a closer? This kind of felt like one of those games that the Cubs had at the end of last year, where they're close, but they just can't put it away. You got Hector Neris as an option. We'll find out if this was just a blip or whatever, but another disappointing, ninth inning for Alzolay, someone that I think the Cubs really need to step up if they're going to contend for the NL Central, which a lot of us feel like they're going to win the NL Central. So anyway, that's where we are. Opening days in the books, off today, back at it again tomorrow and the next day against the Rangers, and then going back to Wrigley to play the Rockies and the Dodgers. Caught a little of the Dodgers and the Cardinals. That lineup they have it's stacked. I mean, you're talking about historically stacked with 3 MVPs at the top of the lineup, right? So when you can put Mookie Betts followed by Shohei Ohtani and then Freddie Freeman, 1, 2, 3, you're talking about historic lineups, right? And so that's what the Dodgers are rolling out there. Tyler Glasnow looked pretty good in the game that I saw yesterday. And that's, one of the teams, the favorites to win in the NL. Am I panicking over this loss of Justin Steele? No. Craig Counsell said it after the game. He's right that basically this is part of the game. You're going to lose guys, and it's how you respond to it. And the Cubs have depth. They felt like they had pitching depth. They didn't go out and sign Jordan Montgomery like a lot of you guys were hoping that they would. And I'm sure right now they probably feel like, hey, it would have been nice to have that extra starter. But it is what it is, so they're going to have to figure it out with Brown, Wesneski, or Smiley and see if they're able to hang around until they get their 2 of their starters back. And who knows, maybe more guys get hurt. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast, but not the way that you want to start the season with the best pitcher on your team getting hurt. So anyway, all right. Well, thanks. Again, comment section. Love hearing from you guys. Let me know what you thought about the game, the good, the bad, the ugly, I guess. And we will talk to you again tomorrow unless something breaks. Thanks for hanging out. Go Cubs.